Welcome back, Rev fam. It would help us out greatly if you would like and subscribe to our channel, as the algorithm greatly likes this and we appreciate it as well. Thanks, guys. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Rev Talks. We're the owners of Revolutionize Nutrition. Michelle.
I'm Randy.
And we have a very special guest on today. Sir, on the other side of the camera, tell us, who are you?
I'm a nobody. I'm just happy to be here. Well, I'm Rob, owner of Apollon Nutrition, Apollon Gym, and you should know me. I'm kind of popular.
You're super popular.
No, thank you, guys. I really appreciate you asking me to join you. It's always a pleasure. I love talking to you.
We love talking to you too.
I mean, you're definitely one of our favorite people in the industry. That's, a rough industry, and the amount of good people, I think between both of us, we can count on two hands that we know.
Unfortunately, it's true. You know what? It's funny because, you guys, you and I, you and Apollon, Revolutionize and Apollon, we've been pretty much together from day one. And it just goes to show in this industry, it's almost like impossible. And the funny thing is that if anyone would ask me, what is the secret? No secret. Just relationship, friendship, and that's it. It's actually very, very easy if anyone would try it.
Yeah,
you nailed it. And for anybody, you guys might recognize this brand. As you know, we hold all the Apollon nutrition supplements in our Revolutionize storefront, but this is the face behind the company.
and it's a very funny story how we started working together because, Rob, I think, is a very open, friendly person when he gets to know you, but can be guarded at first. And
well, you know what? It's actually, it's funny because this goes not way back, but it goes a couple of years back when Apollon Nutrition, even though Apollon Gym is a well-known gym in central New Jersey area, but Apollon Nutrition was a very new brand, and you guys were already kind of pretty popular in terms of as a team, as a company. Revolutionize was already a fairly established company. So I remember we were watching fights at my house as friends, and to be honest with you, we were not even sure if we could approach you with, working together and becoming partners in this. And I remember we talked about it. And I think right at the fights, you guys said, yeah, let's go, let's try. And, ever since, yes, Apollon Nutrition today is a fairly established brand. We won Brand of the Year 2 years in a row. And today it's already a brand that people know. It's not not just a startup brand, but the relationship is, and I think that's the most valuable thing, I think, that I care the most. You actually took a chance on us when nobody even knew who we were. And that's I think the most important thing. That's how you know when it's more than money, it's more than financial, it's more than anything else. It's something you value. It's friendship, it's loyalty, it's support, it's friendship. It goes way beyond financial reward or financial partnership, because partnerships that typically last. And even Apollon and Nice is stronger than ever.
Yeah, and it was basically a handshake agreement.
Yeah.
There was no contracts, there was no nothing. And I think, like I said, I'm not saying that that's the way it should be, but I think this is a example of how far we've come when it comes to bullshitting and backstabbing and contracts that are completely meaningless. I mean, I'm pretty sure you deal with this on a regular basis. We do deal with this on a regular basis. People come on board, and before they don't even come on board, before anything, they selfishly what do I get out of it?
Yeah, right.
And what they're gonna provide for your brand, because obviously Revolutionize is a brand. So if you link up with somebody, they bring benefit to the company. And I think that that's what's left. People don't care about unity and friendship and partnership. They care about themselves. Don't get me wrong, everybody should kind of care about themselves and their well-being, but it's a little bit deeper than that. I think that those meaningful relationships where it's more than just about financial reward, I think those are the ones that last. And that's the reason you see people hopping from one brand to another one, and there is no loyalty, there is no longevity. It's just, today somebody with Bar, tomorrow they with Apollon, and the next day with NutriBio. And you asking yourself a question: are you jumping from and just based on who's going to do more, or you actually kind of your name next to something you believe in.
Yes.
Yeah, and I see so many people, let's call them sponsored athletes or athletes throughout the world, and different people, to me, their word means different things. When I see one guy with 10 different companies, his word means a little less than the guy who's been pushing Apollon nutrition for 10 years and one gym for 10 years. He clearly believes in that.
Yeah, well, you know what the thing is like, take for example, Apollon, and maybe take Radcon, right? More than likely, we cannot offer you what Radcon can in terms of exposure and maybe even reward in terms of financial or whatnot, free supplements. We're a smaller company, we have few employees and that's it. We're not a multi-million-dollar company, but we can offer you quality. We can offer you something that you can put your name behind it and not be, I'm not saying to be ashamed behind Radcon. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say, there is mainstream and there is a little bit more direct kind of like type of athletes or customers clients that you deal with. It's a little bit different. And in terms of like, you're going to go into bidding, who's going to give me more? There's always somebody who's going to give you more. There's a very high possibility. There's always more. But the question is, where is your integrity? Do you even believe in something? I know it sounds naive and maybe a little bit of a cliche, but for me, for example, I will not represent the brand that I personally would not use.
Right, exactly.
I can't, and I know for a fact, I had athletes coming to Apollon Gym representing other brands, but using our products. I mean, don't forget, it's cool, it's funny, but that's not the type of athlete that I would like to represent us. I would like to represent a person, somebody comes and like, oh, I know Apollon nutrition products. What do you know? Like, can you know the difference between Apollon and, I don't know, Muscle Tech? I mean, can you tell the difference? Or to you, and we've heard this before. Oh, protein is just protein. Creatine is just creatine. This is just this. Pre-workout is a pre-workout. No, there are different levels. There are different qualities. And, can you put your name behind something? Do you send somebody? Do you have integrity? Do you have what it takes to represent the brand with integrity, with honor? And again, it sounds a little bit naive, especially in this day and age. But to me personally, and I know you guys, it means something. There are bigger teams than Revolutionize.
Yes.
Are they better? Are they better? That's a question. Are you a team of which you can get out of the team, also who is cheaper, or do you want to go with the best? Because I know you guys, I've seen you at shows. You go to every possible show and you literally are there for your athletes. How many teams do that? Not many.
A lot. And and I'm always proud of, we never poach. If I see another coach's athlete, they come to me, I go, not during that prep, absolutely not. Do not talk to me. I'm never going to be in somebody's DMs. Hey, you look great. Come work with me. It's just not my style.
Well, not only that, I mean, I know that there was somebody I saw recently on YouTube, and this guy actually posted, I don't know if it's a social media. I saw him on YouTube that he was offering his services in terms of contest preparations and stuff like that. And then I looked him up. I don't remember where, maybe Instagram or something like that. But it was like a whole full price list of the services it provides. And I found it, to me at least, it was shocking. So he had a 30-minute consultation, a 60-minute consultation, a 2-hour consultation. If you cross 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, you automatically get charged more. So everything is like every word, basically, every minute, every second actually counts. I wouldn't say he's that big of a deal in terms of a name. I mean, he's known. But to me, I mean, a little bit of a personal touch, a little bit like, show me that you don't care just about my money, that you care actually about me, that you give a damn about me. Because that's why I would hire a coach. I would like a coach that obviously a coach needs to get paid. That goes without saying, I'll have bills to pay. But I want a coach that actually gives a shit about me, that gives a shit about my health, doesn't just load me on drugs. And
that's a great point I want to get into in a second.
And 30-minute conversation. Oh, okay, your time is up next. That's not the type of coach I want.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Right.
And, I'll just plug us a little bit. Yeah, we're in touch with our clients all day, every day. You can email, text, call. You're not charged by that. It's we charge you the fee, and that's the fee. It's all included. And you get us, but the way we work, we have our main business, which works with the general nutrition clients. And this is kind of like, in terms of our financial success, our side hustle. So we get to put kind of our heart and our passion into it. It's not a need, it's a want.
Well, I know you had some clients who've been with you like with Apollon for years.
Yeah. But it's
I know, for example, Nick, he's been with you forever.
Yeah.
Loretta's been with us for a decade now.
Yeah. And I love them. And those are the kind of people, if I won that Lotto Tuesday, I'd still work with them.
Yeah.
I think that's the point that's getting that is missed these days. I mean, is the loyalty. The loyalty is not there, and I've been saying it forever now that the words brother and I love you, you my bro, you my man, it's being thrown around left and right. And I always want. Obviously, English is not my first language, but sometimes I want to approach those people and I'm like, do you even know the meaning of those words?
What does that mean to you?
Exactly. Right. If you're saying that to 20 people,
it's saying I'm your brother, and then you backstabbing me a minute later because you're going to get $5 more. I mean, is the brotherhood over? We're no longer brothers, because I mean, to me, those words, they have a serious meaning.
Right.
But they thrown around left and right, and I see, in retrospect, 10, 20 years ago, those words were not thrown around as much. Sure. But loyalty and friendship actually meant something.
Yeah.
But today, everyone, my brother, I love you. I'll do anything for you. I'll die for you. I'm like, slow down, because you're saying something that I actually take it seriously.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
those words mean nothing.
No, what that mean? Yeah, what they mean is until the check keeps coming, or I get a better offer.
Well, and again, and especially because I know how you are, guys, in terms of like, you really go all the way for your clients and you're really helpful. And I've been to shows where you put protein on your athletes. You really did. And today it's, I overhear, obviously, because of Apollon, I overhear sometimes guys are talking, to their coaches. Okay, this coach put me on 500 milligram of test, and this one put me on 1,000 milligram of test.
Yeah.
What about diet? What about training? What about actually, does it even give a?
Well, and I hear some horror stories, and I mean, I don't like to talk bad about other coaches or teams, but of when people went for consults with a coach and they've handed them a list of drugs and said, before we work together, you're taking this, or we're not working together.
Yeah, you have to agree to take X, Y, and Z before they even discuss training and nutrition. Like,
and to me, that's an athlete's choice. I'm never going to tell anybody to do a PED. You want to go out there and do natural? Do your thing, man. Are you going to be the greatest? Probably not. But that's not my choice to make for you. That's a you decision.
I actually interacted with an athlete from Europe recently, and it was he looked absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And it just happens to be when I was with him, he called his coach, and he was talking to his coach, and the drugs came also into conversation, and I was shocked at how little he was taking, like really minimal amounts. And I've known this athlete for quite some time. I was like, that's all you're taking? He goes, yeah. He says, I used to take a lot more with my previous coach, but with this one, before I even started anything, he asked me to do blood work, and he wanted to check my blood work, and he wanted to talk to me. And then he started me on very low dose. He says, I didn't even think that it's going to work, but he emphasizes a lot of, he puts a lot of emphasis on diet and training and supplementation. That is actual supplementation, not drugs. He goes, I use now probably 10-20% on what I used before. And I look.
Wow.
Well, I think that could speak to, the athletes of today's era versus, the older generation, where these guys are living their life for the most part in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where we're seeing these guys not make it past 40.
Yeah.
Well, again, I've always been vocal about, performance enhancing drugs. I never denied the fact that I've used them myself. I'm 48. I've used them, on and off for, especially when competing. But I have used them. I still use them. And again, I'm very transparent. If anyone asks me, we can talk about it. That's not a problem at all. I don't have anything to hide.
That's why we like talking to you, is because of your transparency, and there needs to be more of that in the industry.
But I think that people are missing the point is the fact that drugs never meant, the real performance enhancing drugs or, testosterone or DECA. They basically medication. We're not talking about, obviously about, drugs that meant for horses and, and dogs and cats, but we're talking about, steroids, and we're talking about anabolics that actually meant to help people in the first place. They were meant to do something positive. But if you're going to abuse anything in life, anything, whether, testosterone or Advil, there's a price to pay, and more is always better. Most gyms, I'm not talking about Apollon gym, I'm talking about every gym in the country. There are tons of people who are using drugs, and they don't exactly like Mr. Olympias. There is a reason for that, because there is more to it. There is diet, there is proper training, there's proper recovery, there is proper supplementation. All that comes into play, and this is what your coach should be all about. You have
genetics as well,
and genetics,
and genetics, absolutely, and genetics, and when I remember last year when Ronnie Coleman was here, we talked about drugs. I remember, and when he told me what he was using, it was a fracture of what I know guys that never competed are using.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think he
had crazy genetics. The guy turned pro being natural. So genetics huge part. And if your genetics are in place, if your nutrition is in place, if your training is in place, rest, recovery, everything, all those things have to be perfect. Then performance enhancers do have a place in sports. That's a reality, but it's not the emphasis. And if any coach tells you take more and more and more, look how many fucked up athletes we have these days, athletes that are dropping dead, athletes that have serious adverse reactions, health complications. And if he doesn't care about you.
No, we're seeing coaches with multiple body counts at this point.
Yeah, most coaches, unfortunately, that's a fact. They don't care. They don't care. And the approach is more is better. So I think a lot of athletes have to do a lot of research.
Yes.
Or they hire somebody. I remember 10, 20 years ago, there were hardly any coaches. There were just few. And that's today, there are coaches. I know guys that are competing against their coaches. That's insane. Guys are competing. Yeah, my coach and I are doing the same division. Like, what?
Well, we joke. I placed 3 out of 3 at a local show. Come hire me for my contest prep services.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like I said, at the same time, I'm not gonna go and say, "Oh, look, Apollon Nutrition is the best supplement company in the world." Clearly, I think so, clearly I can back up a lot of claims. But the bottom line is, there are very few good supplement companies, very few. And
also transparent. The proprietary blends is not a thing Apollon does.
No. You got to know what you're putting in your body. Again, we're talking about, I never, somebody said recently, Apollon Nutrition supplements are not cheap. I never intended to make cheap supplements. I always intended to make good supplements.
Right. When you're paying for what you're actually getting, it's a different story.
There's a huge difference. And the same thing is like with what you do. I know you have a beautiful offices. You're located in this great area. There's rent, there are expenses, there are employees. You have to pay, and there's your time. And, you're a married couple, obviously, that's your livelihood. So yes, you have to get paid, but it's also what the athlete gets in return. And I know how you are. I don't know, so many conversations that I've had with you guys when it comes to contest preparations and stuff like that. I think we had to talk about drugs maybe 3 times. It's always nutrition and supplements and training and competing and judging, but we hardly talk about drugs. Like I said, maybe 2 or 3 times in the entire time that I've known you.
Right. Yeah, because it's just
guys walk in, he's 120 pounds. I'm on 1,000 milligrams of testosterone. Like, what?
Right. When you're taking more testosterone per week than you're eating protein, it's a problem. Yeah.
Because the emphasis is so much on drugs, and I think people are also getting a little bit more complacent, more lazy. You know,
Yeah.
somebody said to me, well, Apollon Gym back in the day, I think I was doing an interview with Gary Turner, and he goes like, that was back in the day, that was like a badass. Yes, I mean, it's not the same, because right now people are more interested in the latest TikTok videos they're gonna post.
Yeah, and it's hard. I try not to be a hater. I try so hard, but when I was growing up, I'm watching these videos before I work out of Branch Warren, Johnny Jackson working out to the death, and I'm not worried about this. My mustache like C-bums.
You know what? We were in Texas with Kay, I think last year, and we were filming a video with Branch Warren.
Mhm.
Obviously the cameraman was there and stuff like that. There was not one staged video. There was not one stage shot or anything like that. He goes like, you can be anywhere you want, just don't be in my space.
Right.
I'm gonna do my sets, I'm gonna do my reps, I'm not gonna look into the camera, I'm not gonna do anything like that. He says, I'm just training. And he trains really, 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 goes to show, the type of physique that he has. And you walk into, and I'm sorry to admit, even Apollon today, cameras. I understand, we live in a different world right now. Social media is a lot. I mean, I take some photos and I take some video. I
Right.
don't,
You got to market.
Same. Yeah.
but when you see cameras that cost thousands of dollars and people positioning them on the floor a certain distance, which comes into in a way with other people working out. Yeah, it's insane. I went to, what is that gym by my house? Iron Revolution, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a beautiful facility.
I tripped over like 20 tripods when I was there. I never went back. Beautiful place.
I went there. I can walk to that gym. That's how close it is from my house. I can walk. It will take me 15 minutes to walk. If I drive, it's like 2-3 minutes. There's not even a traffic light. I think like one. It's very close, and I walked in. Beautiful facility, great equipment. I mean, it's nice, but tripods everywhere. Everywhere. I was tripping on them. I mean, it was just like, and then you see people are taking it. He doesn't like the angle. He stops his set and he kind of repositions the tripod. So,
that drives me crazy. I can't. That's why I can't film myself doing stuff. People say, why don't you film your workouts? I'm like, I can't. It'll drive me insane. It'll drive me crazy.
Yeah, I get motivated. Like when I come to Apollon, for example, and this is the reason why I like working out here, is because no, I don't train like I used to train in terms of like the weights and intensity. I mean, I still train pretty good, but when I walk in here, yes, like I said, there are cameras, but people actually train.
Yeah,
and I kind of like feed off that energy. I'm not a lifter, but when I see a power lifter train or I'll lift something heavy like right next to me, it motivates me. But when I see somebody's wearing a t-shirt that costs like $200 and he has a camera that costs $2,000 or $3,000 and he's taking a video and he's making sure his hair looks good and it's the right angle, and there's like 3 or 4 of them and they take pictures of each other nonstop in videos, it's like you can be motivated, you can get annoyed by that. At least I do. And that's why I don't go there. Like sometimes I'll train in my house, like I have a little bit of a setup in my house, but if I really need to train, I get in a car and I drive 40 minutes to Apollon.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect time to segue into, can you tell us a little bit about you coming over to Apollon and taking it over and turning it into one of the top 10 hardcore gyms in the world.
And then how Apollon Nutrition came into play, that whole sequence, of events.
I think that, you know what, I think that at this point, they really, really complement each other. I think, Apollon Gym was the center of attention, and Apollon Nutrition was kind of like this supplement line that came out of him. I mean, obviously today, Apollon Nutrition, you can probably find it in India and in Germany and Austria and whatnot. And Apollon Gym is just the gym that is associated with Apollon Nutrition. It's kind of funny to see it.
Yeah.
Much bigger than the gym. But came with hard work. And honestly, I mean, it's it's people that believed in a brand. I mean, you're obviously part of it because of you and your athletes and people that spread the word that like, listen, you know, this is something you can get ready for a show. This is something you can actually use. This is something like, for example, when Michelle is posting, you know, videos that she's using, she is using
it. Absolutely. Yeah.
it's you know, and I think that the two of you have such reputation that's like, I know you promote also Eat Clean Bra. I know you using their food
Every day. It's on the counter right now.
Well, now I'm back in the gym. What happened? I had my my hooligan before I went to the gym. I had my 50-50 when I got home from the gym, and then I had an Eat Clean Bro meal after that.
We like pretend like we genuinely live off of these things, and it's like Randy's you're week 6 into your transformation.
And if it wasn't without that pre-workout, a lot of these workouts wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, because like I said, you know, I mean, that's the whole point, is to be represented by people that believe in you, that believe in your brand. And I think that's how, you know, we never had the budget to do crazy marketing. We never had the budget to do crazy advertising. You know, I wish we did. You know, we never took on these investors or partners, you know, we had offers, don't get me wrong, especially now, obviously we have offers, but I feel like it wouldn't be the same. I'll give you an example. I actually used this before. A very good friend who is financially very well off. I mean, he's doing really, really well. And he saw the potential in nutrition, and he told me, you know, he said that I will invest money, you know, tell me how much you need to like really take it to the next level. And I admit I entertained the idea because I knew that, you know, his money would help us tremendously to get to a little bit maybe more mainstream and like in terms of marketing to take it to the next level. I didn't say yes, but I fully intended to say yes. But we had like a little meeting, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot. So we had a second meeting with him. During that meeting, things have changed. He goes, you know what, I looked over your formulas and I did a little research. Your products are not cheap to make. And I was like, okay, you know, it's true, you know, products are not cheap to make. But what are you trying to say? He says, well, we should definitely look into cut cost, you know, maybe like making the products a little bit cheaper. At that point, I knew the conversation is over.
Right.
You're going to lose your quality.
You know, at that point, it was pretty much, it's over. You know, so the thing is that Apollon built its clientele, its customer base on word of mouth. It built around people like you, people that actually use the product. Right. If you the product and you're just saying, oh, you know, I mean, how many athletes do you know? The contract is for 6 months or a year, and they saying this is the best pre-workout on the market. Contract is up, he's with another company. This is the best pre-workout on the market. Contract is up, he's with the next company. This is the best pre-workout on the market.
We've been with you for what, 6-7 years, right around there. Yeah. 2017 was official.
8 years old, and I think you've been with us pretty much from the very beginning.
Yeah.
The year or two, we were just selling outside the gym, but as soon as we kind of like broke out, you were with us. And I think that's what means, because, you know, again, people can see you use the product. And you've been with Clean Bra also for years.
From the beginning. We both opened up in 2013, and I would say we were officially with him in like 2014. But back when he was still working out of Nona's, like he was himself the chef working out of Nona's, like way back.
Well, but that's like I said, that's how the relationship, that's how friendship, that's how everything. Like I said, at this point, you are not exactly where you were 7-8 years ago. You were in a different place. Today, you can probably go and shop around, not just for Apollon Nutrition, not just for Eat Clean Bra. You can go and say, you know, Eat Clean Bra gives us this much of whatever. Can you give us more? And you probably can find companies that would. But the credibility and just, I think it changes. It changes because when I see somebody representing multiple brands in a span of a couple of years, to me, that just shows that you will jump any ship.
I don't trust those people. No? I don't trust those people.
You can. I had one, you know, top athlete who was, who was talking to us and saying that he would join the brand and, he would be with us. And I said, you know what, you've been with so many brands that if we sign you, what are you going to say? You're going to say, oh, they're the best on the market. But do people even believe you now?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the problem. How you're representing the brand. Do people even believe you? I remember one pro years ago was also representing multiple brands. And then he signed with somebody, I think with Muscle Tech or something. I don't remember. And he said, I've been using their products from the very beginning. Really? Because last year you were promoting somebody else.
Okay.
It all down, do you really think, or you treat your followers, your fans, your supporters, you treat them as if they are idiots? Because they're not.
Right. And they're not. The consumer nowadays, I always say, is smarter than ever because the information's there.
They have access.
So
you know what? And you're right, because the thing is that I'm a firm believer that if you're a good salesperson, if you're a good sales rep, you can sell anything, but you can probably sell it only once.
right. Yeah. You can only trick some.
You can trick somebody only once, because the thing is the consumer is smarter. Maybe a year ago, or maybe a year ago, there's a guy who comes to Apollon, and we had a conversation, and he told me a very, very interesting story. So he bought a pre-workout because I'm not going to say who the athlete is. Because favorite athlete, you can probably guess. His favorite athlete represents the brand. He says, I had to buy it because, he's my favorite athlete. And he said, it's good. It must be good. He used it. He says to me, I used it a couple of times. He says, I don't like it. He says, I used Hooligan before. I really like that one. Hooligan doesn't taste as good, but the focus and the pump it gives me and the energy is much, much, much better. So I went back to Hooligan. I'm not using his anymore. I'm like, you're no longer his fan. Oh, no. I'm still a fan. I'm just not going to use the product.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
fine.
You could respect their physique and not their opinion.
But that particular athlete gets paid shitload of money to represent, and then somebody like this particular gentleman used his product or a product that he represents. And again, you can't fool a person twice.
Nailed
the
it.
consumer today is more knowledgeable, and that's the reason why you had athletes for, some of the athletes stayed with you for so many years. There is a reason for that. Right. They're getting results. They're clearly healthy, and you giving them personal touch that they probably not going to get, because not everybody does what you guys do. Again, I've seen you at shows, and Michelle is a complete lunatic. She will start.
She's out of her mind.
With my fanny packs, taking care of everything. I'm taking strangers under my wing. I'm like, I don't know you, but what can I do to help you?
the last one of the last shows, I'm not going to say with which of your athletes, Michelle was going nuts. Her text messages to me were flying. I'm like,
Rob, right. I had to take a Xanax that day because I was freaking out.
I was like, okay, he's a client, but girl, calm down. That just shows how much you guys care. You actually care about the athlete. You care about their placings and their well-being. You're becoming more like, truly like a family.
And it is, in a good way. It keeps me up at night, but
it does. Good. It does. It drives them absolutely insane.
But on the NPC note, let's talk about your history with the NPC, because you have a storied history with them, for better and worse.
You were a judge and a promoter, and what have you seen change throughout the industry? The pros and the cons, the things you liked and the things that you didn't like, honestly.
You will get me to talk shit.
Let's talk shit.
No, the truth is that let's be honest. You know what? And I know it's talk behind closed doors, but let's be honest. NPC is a business. That's what it is. The business. It's owned by Manians. They making shitload of money out of NPC. Shitload of money. Okay, let's now go to another fact. Bodybuilding is not a sport. I know a lot of people will absolutely hate me for it, but it's not a sport. You can call yourself an athlete all you want. in a fair, you have to, a lot of people actually have to look up the definition of athlete and
Right.
definition of sport, because it's not sport when it's subjective, and you can be the best athlete on that day and you can still lose.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
You
you
know?
for saying that, because everybody needs to hear that.
It's
You
not
know,
powerlifting.
look at chess player, right? And people will say, well, chess is not a sport. No, chess is a fucking sport.
Yeah.
Maybe the
There's a
guys
winner.
at the table and they not very active physically, but the best man will win. They might take it call it a draw. Somebody might give up, or somebody might win, but you're gonna have a clear-cut winner or loser.
Yes.
You know, so it is a sport. It is a competition. Bodybuilding is not a competition. You can call it even perhaps a beauty pageant, but just unfortunately are ugly. But you can call it. I don't know about beauty. Scratch that word. But it's not a competition. It's definitely not a competition. You can be the best. You might lose. You might look like dog shit, and you might win. Right. So that creates an environment where an athlete puts his heart and soul into a competition, spends a lot of money on coaches and drugs and diet and nutrition and gyms and posing trunks and protein and NPC membership. Let's not forget about that, which fucking goes higher than any inflation.
It's not a sport for the working man.
And if you get a pro card, as I did, and I want to compete as a pro, I have to pay for that as well. Keep that in mind. Anybody who's looking to go pro, you pay for it.
Yeah, it's not like going pro in NFL or the NBA.
You're not getting a multi-million-dollar contract.
You know what? I guess I can say it now because it's been years, and because I'm not affiliated. I'm affiliated with Apollon, so I can tell a story that goes back to many years ago when I judged the show. A certain athlete who is still competing, him and I had a huge falling out at one point. He competed at the show. He's a professional now. He was an amateur. I judged him. Unfortunately, I was able to judge only pre-judging. That was my beginning of an end with NPC. I was judging a show. It was a pre-judging. During pre-judging, and usually during pre-judging is when a local show is judged. At night show, not much is happening. Right. At the show, I gave him a first place. I didn't like him that much on a personal level, but he deserved, and you know me,
you can separate.
Straight up. Yeah.
I separated, no problem. I gave him a first place, and I know for a fact that he got straight first from every judge, and he looked the part. I mean, that's just a fact. Between pre-judging and final, he basically approached me. I don't know if he approached anyone else, and he asked me, how did I do? I was like, it's pretty obvious, you won. He goes to me, yeah. We talked, and I told him, he won, clearly. I couldn't make it to the finals. It was obviously a Saturday. On a Sunday, I got a voicemail from him, cursing me out, calling me names, and calling me a liar and blah, 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 because he got second place.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck? I called him back. I said, I have no idea what happened. I wasn't there. I said, what I do know is that I know I gave you first place. He goes to me, you're a fucking liar. He goes, I saw the score sheet. You gave me second place. I'm like, no, I gave you first. We went back and forth. On Monday, I went and I checked the score sheets from the head judge. Next to my name, there was one, first place. It was crossed, and then there was two next to it. My handwriting, I didn't do it. So my name, my score, they were changed. For whatever reason, that's another story. Right. But bottom line is that it's not a competition. It's unfortunate. I know it's not something that anyone wants to hear, but it's a fact. It's a private company. It's a business. It's a big business with sponsors, with promoters, with a lot of money on the line. And athletes are just sometimes collateral damage. It just, sometimes shit happens. And if you are thinking that you're going to get judged fairly, think again. Sometimes you do. It's not every.
We've seen it happen.
Yeah,
But
not every corrupted. Not every judge is corrupted. That would be wrong of me saying. So I'm not going to say it. But the more you decide to compete, if you want to call it a competition, in NPC, in bodybuilding in general, be ready that you might get royally fucked.
and I've had to tell my athletes that I go, you can get first place at a show one week and dead last at a show the next week. I go, the scoring is subjective, especially in things like physique and bikini. I mean, the opinions are so different from person to person on that judging panel.
And that's just being kind and saying there's no malicious intent. That's just on subjectivity.
One week they're looking for a hard body, the next week they're looking for a full body, and the hard girl gets thrown to the side. Like, you can't. You gotta get used to it, unfortunately.
Let's be honest. You have judges in the audience. Sometimes an athlete competing is from the gym that they own.
Mm-hmm.
They're from the company that sponsored, and obviously they want their athlete to win because they just gave $1,000 or $2,000, sometimes $5,000, sometimes $10,000 to the promoter.
Yeah,
and the judges sleep with some athletes.
Yeah.
That's all. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And some are cousins and friends and family members and whatnot, and girlfriends and boyfriends. All that comes into play. I just gave, in one sentence, so many reasons why things can go wrong. And unfortunately, they do. So when an athlete goes and has a fit, oh my God, I was the best, I should have won. Yes, you possibly should have, but you didn't. Not that you didn't win, you did win. You were just not acknowledged as a winner.
I like that's a great way to say it. And I tell people, if you're in this sport for an external reward, whether it's validation from the judges or money or this, you're in the wrong business. You got to be doing this for yourself.
Yeah.
And then, if some good things come from it, that's great.
Right.
You know what? I hear still athletes go, and like I said, I like Steve Weinberger. We have a good relationship. He is a straight shooter.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I hear an athlete saying, I'm going to go drive to Steve's gym for him to check me out. And what, is your body going to improve?
Well, there's that too. Some people think they look a lot better than they do.
Yeah, again, or do you think it's going to help you? Your physique is going to do the talking. Judging is very, very subjective.
Right.
It's subjective. And sometimes it's more than subjective. Sometimes it's weighed by money and influence and friendships and blood relations and God knows what else. Right. So unfortunately, if you're expecting a fair competition, you should, slap yourself and wake the fuck up, because that doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And, sometimes I hear, who was that? Recently, somebody said to me, you should sign me because I'm going to be a pro. And
there's a lot of pros.
Yeah.
Is that going to sell more product? Because I don't think how it works. Today you have some, so to speak, influencers on social media who sell a lot more, and they never set a foot on a bodybuilding stage.
And that's the truth. And people just think you're going to make money as a bodybuilder. If you have a good look and you're charismatic, you can make money with or without bodybuilding.
Oh, easily. Today you have so many, different outlets when it comes to making money. It's just, it doesn't work that way. And, if you think that, by pro show, you're going to become a superstar. It's a very, let's take an average bodybuilder and, or an average bodybuilder. Somebody's going to win, I don't know, Atlantic States, which is a big NPC, competition. Okay, let's go to the mall or something like that. You think somebody's going to recognize you and going to know who the fuck you are? Most people don't.
Mr. USA could walk around the mall and nobody would know who they are.
Adi Chupin is Mr. Olympia. I can go to the mall with him, and not many people will know who he is. It's not that kind of a sport. It's not. You're not Cristiano Ronaldo. You're not Mike Tyson.
You're not one of the Paul brothers.
on that level. So, to think that, by winning a show, you're becoming a superstar. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do recognize your hard work. I do recognize that, kudos to you for doing it, because, bodybuilding is not easy. I mean, obviously, Michelle knows the diet and the suffering and the sacrifice. It's really, really, really tough. And as, athletes who are doing it and suffering through it, I give them utmost respect, because that's hard. But you're not a star. You're not a star. Oh,
and I think the other thing is these athletes not realizing, or if they win a local show, not recognizing how difficult it is to get to that pro level. Thinking like, oh, I won this show, I'm going to go pro next year.
And then the step up from there to pro to Olympian.
Like how hard it is. I don't think they understand that.
Well, you know what? I mean, even in bodybuilding, you people that kind of sort of in a way broke through mainstream, you can probably say that Kai Green did. Kai Green became very, very popular. And probably take a few others, but very, very few. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is still the most popular bodybuilder in the world. That's pretty much it. You don't have a lot of athletes that became, real celebrities in terms of like being recognized all over the world. That doesn't work that. So I think that it's admirable when somebody takes their physique to the next level, even say to want a show or stuff like that. But it's still not everything. It's still different. It's still different. You're not a mainstream star, and you should understand that. Bodybuilding is a sport of passion. It's something that that you want to do it, you love it, like again, for example, G6, Gary Turner, that guy gave 14 years of his life to become a pro.
Yes.
He became a pro. He was very passionate about it, and as soon as he became a pro, he retired. He quit. Why did he quit? Because he said to me, he was very, very honest about it, very open about it, and he said that I don't have what it takes to be a good pro, to win shows and stuff like that. So he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. And I think he became more popular by wanting to be a pro than becoming a pro.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's exciting.
But the thing is that, you have a brand, I have a brand. When you get somebody to represent your brand and you, I don't know, give them a free t-shirt, that free t-shirt is not a free t-shirt. You paid for that t-shirt.
Yes.
Still not free. So whether you give a free t-shirt $1,000 or $10,000, you want that money to come back to your company. You're investing. And I think this is where, where the misconception is, where athletes don't take into consideration, oh, really? Do I have to bring money to the company? Yes, you do.
Right. It's like any sales job. You get paid a commission on what you bring in. It's basically that. Yeah. If you're getting 10%, it's because the business made 90%.
Knows, for example, you get a job and I don't know, you get a salary of $5,000. Do you really think your boss is getting $5,000? No, you probably have to make your boss $50,000 or $100,000. He's pocketing more, and you getting only $5,000. But that's how it works.
Right. Yeah, that's the deal. It is what it is.
Of course, there's an employer and employee. An employer is the boss, and he the one who came with an idea. And he was the one who came up with investing into his company, and you are part of that investment. So yes, you have to bring him money. But when somebody who is an NPC athlete or even an IFBB pro comes to you and says, "Oh, you know what? One day I'm going to win the Olympia. I'm going to turn pro. That's all great. But what can you do for my company?"
Yeah.
The reason why people are coming to an average job, say, and they bring in their resume, they selling themselves. They tell the employer what they can bring to the company, what benefit they serve. This is no different.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. You nailed it.
That's exactly the same. It's no different. What benefit can you bring to my company that I should cut you a check or give you a free t-shirt or give you a free container of something? Because if you're not bringing benefit to the company, there is no company. Then we have nothing to give you.
Right. Then you're charity.
It's simple. look, Michelle is doing so much content for Eat Clean Bro. She's doing so much content for Apollon Nutrition. She is an athlete or representative, somebody who is representing and promoting. So if she's getting a free t-shirt or she's getting a free container, she actually paid for it already. Yeah. She did to promote the brand. She cannot get just, oh, look, free t-shirt. There you go. Oh, here's $10,000. Oh, no, if you got $10,000, you probably got the company $100,000 because otherwise you're not worth it.
You nailed it.
I thought I was wearing my Apollon tank, but it's just a bra. I had it on before. I forgot I changed.
Not only that, I've seen athletes, potential ambassadors or athletes, they tag you. They tag, say, for example, Apollon Nutrition, and it's great. You see, they work out and they tag us. And sometimes, just for the hell of it, I'll tag on and see the other tags that they're using. There's Apollon Nutrition, there is Muscle Tag, there is Raw. I'm like, why the fuck you tagging all of us?
Pick one.
You're trying to land anyone.
That's exactly what it is. It's like fishing.
About Apollon Nutrition. You don't give a fuck about Raw. You don't give a fuck about Muscle Tech. So you think we're gonna sign you? There is chance in hell. It's happening. We had somebody at the gym working out, and the guy had like, I don't know, 300-400 followers or something like that. He had a camera, of course, and the whole thing. And then he wanted to be ambassador for Apollon Nutrition. And we said, oh, okay, he's comes to the gym, he supports you. Okay, why not? And somebody looked him up, and he was also representing Raw Nutrition. If you can represent two companies, why not? Because you can't. That just doesn't work that way. So he actually connected us with his manager. He had a manager.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And the manager goes, it's not about him promoting your brand. It's about him self-promoting. And no.
Okay.
The brand is not, your employer is not there to promote you. You are there to get rewarded from promoting your employer.
The perspective.
I think you just defined this new generation in one sentence. And old generations too, but I feel like it's more out there now of it's what about me and not what can I do to better what I offer.
Well, but you know what? To me, it's a very, very simple context in terms of it's a concept of you're going to give me a free container of a product. Right. I think getting more, but you're going to tell me, you know what? I'll give you more. Show me in X amount of time that you can bring more business to the company, and I'm going to increase your allowance, or maybe I'll give you a salary, or maybe I'll give you a bonus, or maybe I'll give you something, but show me what you're capable of doing. Right. No, I want it. Well, you can't have this. You have to work for it. Yeah. Everybody who starts at any company actually gets a base salary, and then that salary is typically increased if you perform.
Right, if the performance.
I remember when I graduated from college in South Africa, it was very, very difficult for me to find a job. And then finally, I found a job in this computer company, and I started at the rock bottom. I mean, they gave me like a smallest possible salary. And obviously I wanted more, but I couldn't find a job. So I was happy with what I could get. 6 months later, they always had reevaluation. 6 months later, my salary was doubled.
Wow.
It was doubled. I mean, don't get me wrong, not very impressive because I was getting paid nothing. I mean, it's like the minimum wage, but my salary got doubled. And then because I was still using a bus, and in South Africa to use a bus was very, very complicated. The public transportation was not that good where I lived. And I remember the owner of the company saw me getting off the bus not far from our company. And he called me into his office, and it was unheard of anyone using a bus. And he goes to me, hold on a second. He says, where do you live? So I told him, Goes to me, how long does it take you to get to work? I said, about 3 hours, even though I live like maybe an hour away, uh, 5 minutes away. He goes to me, well, why don't you have a car? I said, because I can't get a car. And I was making, because it was South Africa, so in South African currency, I was making, I think, 45,000 rand. And he goes to me, okay, he says, we just doubled your salary. He says, so go fucking get a car. I said, I don't have to get a car. And they didn't have lease. You could only finance. So I said to him, I can't get a car. He goes to me, why? I said, because to get a car, I needed to have a certain minimum salary to be able to afford like an average car, and 45. And because I didn't have much in terms of, I only worked for 6 months. I said, nobody's going to give me credit to get a car. He goes to me, okay, he says, how much more? So he called me, he called the car dealership, and they said that I have to have $55,000 salary. He goes to me, here's your $55,000 salary. He sent them a letter, and I was like, oh, thank you. And I was thanking him nonstop. After about a week, he calls me again into his office, and he goes to me, okay, I got it. You're grateful. Stop. Goes, do you think, he says, I gave it to you as a charity or to help you out? He says, no. He says, we value you as an employee. You're doing good. And as a result, I feel like you're worth that money. He says, if you were not worth that money, you would still be getting on a bus.
Yeah.
So it has to be earned. Like I know it sounds a little bit like, I'm kind of like getting my ego up, but the truth is that's how it works. You have to earn it. Nothing is for free. And these handouts and stuff like that, they have to stop, because we're helping the new generation by giving them stuff. You have to earn it.
Yeah, give them an opportunity, give them a chance. I mean, when we first started working, we were personal training in the morning, seeing people at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, saving every penny we had to buy our first location. And then after we grew and developed and invested in the staff, we reinvested in a new facility and started all over again. And, then COVID and that.
That was fun.
That's how it works. There is no other way around it. And I think there's a misconception where a lot of people, I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people are kind of living this la la land, like things are falling from sky. That doesn't work. That you have to earn it. You have to earn it, and with hard work, with dedication, with loyalty, all these things come to place, and then you get rewarded. But first, you have to invest not just in the company you work for. You have to invest in yourself.
Yeah, and that's it. If you think you're worth the investment, develop those skills.
I also didn't know you went to school in South Africa.
So when I was 13, we moved from Ukraine to Israel. I lived in Israel for 4 years, and then I went to South Africa. I went to college in South Africa, and I lived there for about 6 years.
Nice. And when did you get into fighting and MMA?
I did boxing in Israel. I did boxing in Israel when I was a teenager, and then I did boxing for a couple of years. I had a bunch of fights, and then after I moved from Israel in South Africa, it was mostly like weightlifting and stuff like that. I would always like fuck around with boxing a little bit, but never in terms of like kicking and punching, like that. And then when I actually, believe it or not, left NPC. I was 36. I'm 48 now. I was 36, and I remember talking to Dan Mergliotta. Remember, like, we are friends, and Dan Mergliotta.
And do you let people know who may not know who he is?
Yeah. So I talked to Dan Mergliotta, who was a good friend of mine, and he was teaching at Hands of Gracie's. Again, keep in mind, I was 36. So I said to him, you know what? I used to box. And he goes to me, when? I was like, about 20 years ago. Goes to me, oh, okay. You can box. They're like, I can box. Hey, why don't you? He says, I'm teaching Muay Thai and kickboxing. He says, not boxing, but you can punch the bag and I can hold pads for you and stuff like that. I was like, all right. So I went there because I thought I was just something to do, to train, different level of training. And then he was holding pads for me. And after a couple of rounds, he goes to me, wow, he says, you really suck. Like, what? I said, I used to be good. He says, I was like, well, stale. So we basically started from scratch, and I still kept going, and he would, hold pads from me. And obviously I was getting a little bit better. And then he said to me, well, why don't you, since obviously, you like starting from the beginning, from scratch, he says, it's ironic because at 36, people usually retire. And he goes to me, why don't you start Muay Thai? I was like, I don't know how to kick. He says, you don't know how to punch either. Yeah, so I started Muay Thai, and then I got more and more into it. Like I really kind of got hooked, and I started training with different trainers. And you know me by now, I take things very, very seriously when I'm passionate about it. I did my research that the best kickboxers come out of Holland and the best Muay Thai fighters coming out of Thailand. So I went to Holland and I went to Thailand.
Nice.
I trained over there, and then first fight, I lost the very first fight. It was a good learning experience though, and then trained some more, and a few fights that I won, and stayed with it, and that's it. But it came literally only 12 years ago.
That's crazy. And I, personally, combat sports were always close and dear to my heart because I was a wrestler growing up, and I think there's no better sport for especially men, because it's you against somebody else. It's are you better than him? It's hard. It's grit. There's nothing, I don't know, it just builds such character, and the conditioning and the workouts are like no other.
I agree. In terms of conditioning, it helped me a lot because, what did I know? I knew about lifting weights. That's what I did for decades, is lifting weights, and I enjoyed it. But the thing is that I remember when the very first time I really trained kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I had this like ripped body and muscles everywhere and stuff like that. And I remember after about 2 or 3 months, 3 rounds, I can barely breathe, like I'm dying. And I'm like, why the fuck is this happening? I'm fit. I'm fitter than any of those guys, but different type of fitness. When the belly can go 10, 12 rounds and you have barely any body fat, but you're dying after 2, 3 rounds, that tells you a lot that there is a different level of fitness. And I was like, okay, I got to get rid of the muscles. So throughout the whole fighting time, the only thing I really would do at the gym, even at Apollon, I did not lift weights at all. All I did was jump rope. And in terms of muscle exercise, I did dips and body weight dips and pull-ups. That's it. Only calisthenics. That's the only thing I did. I didn't look the part, but I was fit, and I kind of missed those days. And that's the reason why recently I kind of went back to kickboxing, just mostly for health reasons.
Right.
Because I enjoy it so much, and I would like to, once you get into your 40s, 50s, I think it's more than just muscles. It's also about longevity, and it's about keeping your physique healthy. So I think there's a different level of training, and I would advise everyone who is not bodybuilding, that the best way is to keep both your cardiovascular training, your weightlifting, and kind of balance it together for a healthier you.
Yeah. And I think let's finish off with something fun. And I know another passion of yours. Let's talk movies.
Rob looks like an action figure, but let's talk about.
If you follow his Instagram, he has reviews up week.
Which I love, because I'll read one of your movie reviews and be like, I'm watching it or I'm not watching it based on what you write.
I was just like, something I did was fun. I'm like, hey, people actually read this and they text me.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, movies is something I was always passionate. For as long as, if anyone would ask me, what is your number one passion in life, I would say movie, theater. That's what I like. I'm a huge fan. So yeah, I try to watch as many movies as I can. I went to Miami last week, so I was able to go to the movies like almost on a daily basis. So it kind of gave me a better understanding of what's going on. I have to see Oppenheimer and Mission Impossible. I missed those. But yeah, I saw Barbie, and wasn't the biggest fan.
But I love your review. You go,
I missed that one. I didn't
it
read
was
that.
good. He goes, it's not for me. That was what he said.
No.
Not for me. He goes, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's doing well financially. Maybe it's for somebody else.
Because the thing is I think that what people are missing, like, for example, Michelle is an IFBB pro, right? So she likes to train. She still has genetically, she has a muscular body. Not every woman likes it.
Right.
Not everyone likes it. Not everybody
Right.
understands. Not everybody understands the lifestyle, but she's happy. You're her husband. You clearly are. You accept it, you're liking it. You're supporting it, and that's all that matters. So at the end of the day, if somebody says that Michelle has an ugly body, that's okay. That's everybody's entitled to their opinion. Some people think that muscles on a woman is gross and it's not very attractive. I learned to accept that the fact that we all have different opinions. So that's a thing. And I think, like, listen, I mean, it's not that I didn't like Barbie, I just did not get it. I didn't get it, and to me it was a little bit over the top. But I mean, they did almost $1 billion in the box office.
Right.
That what, everybody's stupid? No. I mean, they have
something right.
It's appealing to an audience.
I know that Indiana Jones didn't do very well. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. So everybody's different and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Rocky V is probably one of the most hated movies ever. I kind of like it.
And I think the hate it gets is undeserved.
Yeah, it's just I think that when critic is writing a review, I mean, I'm not implying that I'm a critic. I'm probably like a fanboy. But if anyone is writing a review, expresses their opinion, and first of all, is people have to understand it's their opinion. So you see Rotten Tomatoes, right, and the score is 98%. That means 2% still did not like it.
Yeah.
And kind of like the opinions of the judges on the NBC panel.
What are your your top three? But what are your top 3 favorite movies?
Top 3 favorites.
It doesn't have to be in any order, because I know ranking 1 and 2.
I feel like I'm gonna have
John's like,
you know what? I'll tell you this. This you're gonna enjoy. So when it comes to Al Pacino, obviously he's one of my favorite actors. He's everybody's one of the favorite actors.
Mm-hmm. Wait, hold on 1 sec.
Oh, no problem.
Hold on 1 sec.
He's good.
Wait.
Yep.
There you go. Continue.
So Al Pacino, when it comes to Al Pacino, everybody is always arguing it's Scarface or The Godfather, right?
Yeah.
But for me, my favorite Al Pacino movie is Scent of a Woman. Yeah, that's my favorite Al Pacino movie. But in terms of movies, yeah, obviously, I love Rocky. I love The Godfather. I mean, but one of my all-time favorite movies, you're gonna love this. I think Michelle is really gonna appreciate this. La La Land.
Really?
Oh my God! I didn't expect that.
But it's
an amazing movie.
I think
it embodied a lot of theater also, and you're a huge theater musical fan.
I thought, I'm not a huge, I'd be lying if I said I'm a huge musical fan, because I'm not. But for some reason, when I saw La La Land, I was so amazed by the movie, by the storyline, music. I thought it was just perfection, that I think I saw it in a movie theater possibly 3 times. That's how much.
Now I'm going to go watch La La Land tonight after I'm done training clients.
There we go.
That's my list today.
At the same time, I remember my ex-wife, not Marita, I'm still married to her. I had another wife. Yeah, because you always explain yourself. I remember my ex-wife, she was big into Broadway. I love Broadway too, but she was big into Broadway. And I remember she got us tickets to the Phantom of the Opera. And during Phantom of the Opera, I fell asleep.
No! Famous musicals!
I fell asleep, and when we got out, she was yelling at me, embarrassing. You were snoring, and it was Phantom of the Opera, and we didn't have any money, so she really had to like save up to get us tickets.
Oh my God.
I said, I liked the song. I said, but I thought the show sucked. I said, I was that impressed. And then we went. There was a production on Broadway called Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and Jekyll and Hyde was popular. It wasn't as popular as Phantom of the Opera, but it was popular.
I like Jekyll and Hyde.
And I remember with Jekyll and Hyde, when it finished, I liked it so much that I got up and I gave it a standing ovation, realizing I'm the only one standing up. People liked it, but not to the extent that I did. So I think it all comes down to, to a personal opinion. And it should be, you should never tell somebody he is stupid or look down on somebody just because he has a different opinion than you, as done respectfully. So, when I decided that I'm going to do it, whether it's I have 3 followers or something like that. And if anyone reads my opinion of a movie, I have to emphasize, like, listen, I give you my score, my grade, what the movie represents to me. If you like it, by all means, don't watch the movie or don't watch based on my opinion.
Right.
Because you want to watch it. For example, Inception is probably one of the most popular movies.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it that much. I liked it, but I wasn't that impressed. But then you have right now in theaters A Sound of Freedom.
Mm.
And I already watched it twice because I thought it's amazing. I watched it and without Jessica, and then I thought it was such an important film that I would really like her to see. So I took the movie too. Again,
and that's a frustrating one for me, that I hate that one got connected to everything going on externally in the world right now.
Everybody's always looking for something, just watch the movie for what it is. You don't like it. There is obviously a huge problem with human trafficking in the world. And they talk about it. They show the horrors of it, something that we never think. But all of a sudden, make political statement out of it. I hate it, love it, but for different reasons, for wrong reasons, not different reasons, for wrong reasons. Why can't you a movie for what it is and what it represents, and not look for a personal agenda? Not everything is about Democrats, Republicans. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I hate that so much. And I'm not going to get into politics, but it's just like, you can have an opinion that's on the left, and you can also have an opinion that's on the right and still be a whole person.
Yeah, this is what the problem is. I think with kind of wrapping up with bodybuilding. We started with bodybuilding. We're going to finish, I guess, with bodybuilding. Yeah. It's a bodybuilding show is judged on conditioning, shape, symmetry, all those aspects. So the reality is that they often say, "Oh, bodybuilding is subjective." No, it's not. Mm-hmm. Not subjective. Somebody is either in shape, or he or she is not in shape. Somebody bigger body part or a smaller body part. It's actually fairly simple. Criteria should be for everybody the same. The outcome is very subjective. Yeah. But outcome is based on personal, not opinion, but personal agenda.
Yes.
And that's a huge difference. So next time somebody competes and you feel like you won, ask somebody who is not biased, somebody who is a true friend, somebody who will tell you the truth.
Yes.
Look at pictures of your competitors and you on stage and look at it objectively and be honest with yourself. And yes, you might have won. And no, you were not awarded what you deserved. But the reason is not because the judges are blind or because it's subjective, just because they had a different agenda on that day. And that's unfortunately part of life. And sometimes in life you get fucked, and it's not always in a good way.
No, it's usually with no lube and in the prison shower.
Michelle, and you said I was bad?
On that note, thank you so much, Rob, for spending time with us today. It was fun. I could talk to you all day.
Seriously.
Love you guys.
We love you.
Have a great day.